The Big Light presents
Welcome to the Self-Guided Travel Podcast, where we take you on some of the world's most spectacular self-guided hiking and biking vacations. I'm Arlette Godges, and in this season, I'm traveling on a max adventure along Scotland's famous 96-mile-long distance trail, the West Highland Way. Walk with me over the hills, through the woodlands, and alongside lochs. Listen to the sounds of Scotland and hear the stories of the people I meet. This is the best way to explore the world. This is active travel, led by you. It's the final day, the final episode of my incredible trip along the West Highland Way. I'm going to be walking from Coinneach to Fort William, chatting to some fascinating people along the way. So I've set out and I've got my app working again, and it's my last day, and it's a mixture of feelings, but it's been just amazing, and just chuckling to myself about the breakfast conversations I've had and the amazing breakfasts that I've had here in Scotland. That's probably one of my favorite meals here. And I just want to point out that all of the breakfasts are included in the adventure package, and they've just been amazing. So no worries, you will never go hungry on the West Highland Way. So I'm just leaving Coinneach MacLeod, and I'm walking through a park, and there's all this poo everywhere. So I asked a local what that's from, and I was told it's deer poop, and there's quite a bit of it. So obviously the nightlife in Coinneach MacLeod is ran by the deer, and that's quite awesome. So maybe I'll spot one on my way to Fort William today. I'm about 2/3 through my hike today, and my app tells me that there is an amazing viewpoint coming up for Ben Nevis. I can see the mountain. It is covered in clouds on the very top, and I've heard that a few people that are finishing the hike tonight are planning on hiking this tomorrow. I won't be doing that, and I'm not sure they are either, because the weather might be changing and it's not recommended to do that on a rainy day. I'm here at Glen Nevis. I took a bit of a detour because I was curious about the Braveheart village that I've read a bit about. And, being from California and Hollywood, I thought I would take a look at this. And I'm on the site where Braveheart Village was set up and where the movie was filmed. I can see how the crew must have really loved hanging out here for a bit. So I'm just walking into Fort William, and I spotted Loch Linney, which is actually a sea loch. So this is my first sea loch that I've seen. You can see that the shoreline is different, and it smells different, actually. So that's very different from what I've seen for the last week. All right, I'm walking in Fort William. We have gotten to the end point of this magical journey, and I'm walking down this one street. It's full of little stores and a ton of hikers that are all feeling kind of the same emotion I'm feeling, I think. Relieved and happy and excited and joyful, and I have a note from Coinneach MacLeod. He's the Hebridean Baker.
Hi, Arlette. It's Coinneach, the Hebridean Baker here. I'm just sending you a wee note all the way from the Isle of Lewis to cheer you on along your final leg of the magnificent West Highland Way. I've done the walk myself, and I know it's no mean feat. You're probably fairly exhausted at this point. But let me tell you, the sense of achievement when you cross that finish line at Fort William is worth every step. There's something about walking solo through those rugged landscapes that really allows you to connect with the land and with yourself. The challenging part, like the Devil's Staircase, really tested my endurance, but they also made the rewards even sweeter. Those sweeping views are simply unforgettable. I know you've come a long way to enjoy the scenic route through some of Scotland's most epic landscapes, and I hope you've fallen in love with our wild, if sometimes a wee bit rainy, land. And don't think that the adventures end here. You must come back again soon, because this really is just scratching the surface of the incredible experiences we have here in Scotland. Congratulations, well done, and keep going. You're nearly there.
Listening to this just made my heart skip a beat. Of course, the sexy voice does help. Last stop in Fort William before I take my shoes off and park my hiking boots for a while is the West Highland Museum. Going in. Hi there.
Good morning and welcome to the West Highland Museum. Have you been here before?
I have not. I'm traveling from the States and I've heard this is a must when you're in Fort William.
It certainly is. We've got lots of interesting things here, something different in every room. 8 rooms. I hope you enjoy your visit.
Well, thanks, Anne. I will do. So I'm walking through the museum and over there is what I was supposed to look for, the secret portrait. And there it is. Wait, so I gotta look at it a certain way and then it looks... Oh, yeah. Oh, wild. Oh, that's wild. Check it out. And it moves as you move. Well, that is a very cool thing. At the end of the street, we're all looking for a bronze statue that is the sore feet guy, and we have to take the obligatory picture. Oh, there he is. He is quite cute. He doesn't look so miserable, except he's rubbing his feet. But I'm going to have a seat next to him and take that photo, rubbing my feet, which, you know, they're not that sore. I've been very lucky. Some people have been plagued with blisters, but not me. I've been quite happy with my feet, but I will give him a rub next to this pleasant-looking guy. And it does feel kind of good, I have to say. It's been a long day. Yeah, I might have a tear in my eye that it's done. So I've come up to the Granite House and I hear this is where I get my certificate of completion, and I'm kind of excited to go find that. And I've met up with Catherine. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. And I feel quite accomplished, so I'm looking for that certificate.
It's an amazing achievement. I'm so delighted that you've come to us. We have been selling the official certificates for a number of years now in our family-owned business on the High Street at the end of the West Highland Way. I am absolutely delighted that we can welcome West Highland Way walkers. They usually come in pretty sore feet, pretty tired looking, definitely ready to hit the pub, maybe in most circumstances. They just have to do the last little stretch, which we make a joke. They have to go upstairs to get the certificate. There's always a moan, oh no, we've just done 96 miles and now we have to go upstairs. But no, I'm really pleased we can meet everyone. It's such a lovely thing to be able to see how happy people are when they finish the West Highland Way.
Well, thank you so much, and I guess I'll go climb those stairs and get my certificate.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well done again.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. So the pub was really quite loud, even on a Monday night at Fort William. It's a happening place because people are finishing their hikes, and it doesn't matter what night it is. They are celebrating and they are feeling very accomplished. As I might add, so am I. It's been 96 miles of hiking through the most incredible countryside, and I am so excited and honored that I was able to do that. I just took my hiking boots off and I got one blister that I've been pampering this whole time with some moleskin, so it's done quite well. And but I took my hiking boots off and I might have had a tear in my eyes because it's been an absolutely unbelievable journey and an amazing adventure. And I'm kind of sad to say goodbye to it. So I'm looking at my walking sticks, I'm looking at my hiking boots, and I'm so grateful and my heart is so full. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's a wrap. I not only survived my adventure along the West Highland Way, but I totally thrived. I absolutely loved it. I caught a train back from Fort William to Glasgow and had the best night's sleep. But just before I go back to the US, I've decided to have a catch up with Nash, one of the team at the lovely Max Adventure, to debrief.
Welcome back, Arlette. I'm so excited to be the first person to officially welcome you back. How was it?
It was absolutely fabulous. Surrounded by nature for a full week, day after day. You really get the experience of the wonderful atmosphere, the great camaraderie, and the amazing hospitality of the Scots.
I've walked it too, and I'm really, really excited for you. And you said you walked it solo. Was it your first solo walk?
I have done other things like this, but typically with at least one other person.
And we say solo, but you're not really alone all the time. I imagine that you met, some friendly faces and some people along the way.
I sure did. It was absolutely incredible to see the vast spectrum of who does this. So there were other solo hikers, young and old. There were people in their teens to people at a pretty advanced age. The oldest lady I spoke to, she was 78 and she was doing this hike and she was also doing it by herself. And then there's bigger groups. I met a grandpa from Germany with his grandson and a couple honeymoon couples. So truly you do meet people. They're very chatty, but not overburdening you with needing to be in your space. So there were times that I didn't see anyone for about 2 hours.
It's a nice walk, isn't it? The mix of social and then the bits of tranquility that you get along the way. So Arlette, you mentioned that you met a lot of people on your walk. There's father-daughters, there's groups of friends, you saw honeymooners, and not all of these people do, come on the West Highland Way and book through Max. How did you find Max services and how did they benefit you?
The app that Max Adventure has is just incredible. It works online and offline. I must say I was a little bit skeptical in the beginning because I didn't want to be stuck not having access, but it worked beautifully. And there were a couple of times where people were taking a wrong turn and I could just look at my phone and I knew exactly where I was going and I could redirect them a little bit. So the app, the luggage transfer, the stays, the bookings, the meals, it was all just wonderfully orchestrated and done. And I didn't have to think about it at all. It was just brainless. I could just walk and get dressed in the morning and get up. And I knew that at night I would be met with my bag in a room that had a shower and was warm and worked. And that was really important.
And that's what you want after a long day of walking.
Yeah, so really, really brilliant. And I will say that sets Max Adventure apart from any other walking group. And there were a lot of people that I met also that were packing the whole thing and were pitching a tent along the way. Now, I was very lucky with the weather and had very little rain. So that worked out okay. But they all, when I spoke with them, they all said, oh, next time we're going to do it your way. And we looked at it and we can now see the value of that and how nice that is. What made me really comfortable traveling with Max Adventure was that I knew I could reach somebody 24/7. There was a support team available for me. I did not need to do that, but I did test it once just because I was curious, and I got a really lovely person on the phone that was able to help me if I had any kind of needs. We just chatted for a bit, and I thanked them for being there. And so I think that's a really wonderful thing to have, especially when you're going solo and especially being a woman.
Now, was there a part on your walk that you could say was your favorite?
Well, there's so many and they're so varied. To me, when I was walking through what I call the enchanted forest with all the moss everywhere and the light shining through it and lightening up this forest in every shade of green possible, it was incredible when I spotted something bright red, and it was really quite large. It was probably as big as a small pizza, and it was one of those bright red mushrooms with the white spots on top. And I will say, I thought that those had been made up by Disney. So I did not actually know, my ignorance, that those were truly a mushroom that grew, and I was very, very excited. I have lots of pictures of those.
I love that. And I love those mushrooms too.
I just heard on this trip that they're not called mushrooms in Scotland unless you can eat them, but they're called toadstools. And so a toadstool is what we would call in the United States a poisonous mushroom. So don't eat them, but look at them and photograph them, and actually don't touch them.
But I couldn't agree with you more. Scotland doesn't just have forests, they're all enchanted forests, because the combination of sunlight when we get it and all the shades of green, it's just stunning. But it's a tough walk as well.
I did have to channel my inner mountain goat a couple of times, crawling up some rocks and rubble. So that was quite fun. And there were some, not tricky, but a bit challenging descents where I was very grateful that I had walking sticks. So I would certainly recommend that people bring those on their walk. So Nash, I have a question for you, because I know you've also done this hike. There's time to reflect and to think about a lot of things. So to me, it really was about, you can definitely do more and step out of your box more than you think you can. So what was it for you?
Now, I walked with my mom, and she was 63 when we walked 2 Julys ago. Also, we did walk in the very rare heat waves that the UK gets. So we were faced with a bit of challenge with the random surge of heat that the UK got a couple of years back. My mom is a tough woman, and she is amazing, but she doesn't hike or walk. It's just unfortunately not a part of her lifestyle. So we hadn't seen each other in 2 years because of COVID, and I moved over here during the pandemic. So bringing her on the West Highland Way with me was a reunion. It was a celebration, and it was a good opportunity for us to catch up over literally 6 days just walking in the wilderness. The challenges were extra challenging because my mom, she's, again, not out there training. She's not a swimmer. She's not a very active person. So it was amazing to watch her challenge herself, and it was amazing to watch her approach the sense of accomplishment that I don't think she's ever felt in her entire life. So that was really special for me. We loved the scenery. We loved Scotland, and it got to show her why her daughter is in Scotland. It's such a beautiful place. And the walking bug has bit her. She keeps asking me where we're going to go next. Is it Provence? Is it somewhere in Italy? Is it the Catalonia coast in Spain? So on top of an amazing walk, it was just memories with my mom. So had a great time.
Oh, that is so special. And that just gave me goosebumps. So I'm super inspired by this and had such a wonderful time. And I'm wondering what my next one is going to be. Any ideas?
Great question. And it really just depends what you are into. Max has over 300 trips, and we have options in so many different countries. So come to us. We'll definitely pick something out for you. But if I could lend a suggestion, it would be the Camino. So for me, I walked the West Highland Way. It was my very first inn. It was my very first Max trip. And just like my mom, the walking bug definitely bit me. So the Camino was my next walk, and the West Highland Way prepared me for it. It's also a very social walk if you do decide to walk alone this time. And you can get your Compostela, which is a little nice token of the time spent in Spain. So I would recommend it as a next walk for you.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much, Nash.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining me on my Max adventure along the West Highland Way. You've been listening to the self-guided travel podcast with me, Arlette Godges. Max Adventure has hundreds of hiking and biking trips worldwide. To find out more, head to the website at maxadventure.com. That's MACS adventure.com. If you enjoyed listening, please rate, review, and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And even better, share it with your friends. We love hearing what you've got to say, so get in touch via the Max Adventure socials to tell us about a trip you'd like to do or you'd love to hear about next. We're all ears.
From the Big Light Studio